You've probably eaten foods your whole life without ever knowing some of them were once illegal. Not rare, not exotic, normal, everyday American food. But at some point, the government stepped in and said, this cannot exist anymore. Why? Because some of these foods were dangerous, some were too powerful, and some revealed truths people weren't supposed to see. And here's the craziest part. Number 12 was eaten by millions before it suddenly vanished overnight. Number 7 caused nationwide panic. And number 1 might still exist, hidden. This is not just food history. This is survival. This is control. This is what happens when food becomes a threat. Let's begin. Number 15. Before laws, before regulation, there was raw milk. Not processed, not pasteurized, straight from the cow to the table. For early Americans, this wasn't a choice. This was survival. Raw milk was rich, thick, full of nutrients. It fed families when nothing else could. Children grew on it. Farmers depended on it. But there was a problem. Sometimes it carried disease. Tuberculosis, bacteria, infection. And slowly, fear started spreading. So the government stepped in, and pasteurization became law in many states. Raw milk was pushed into the shadows. Today, it's still heavily restricted, not because it disappeared, but because it was too risky to trust. This was not just milk. This was a line between nature and control. Number 14. There was a time when alcohol wasn't just illegal. It was war. During Prohibition, Americans didn't stop drinking. They adapted. They created something dangerous. Homemade alcohol, known as moonshine. Cheap, fast, secret. Made in forests, basements, hidden stills. For many, this wasn't rebellion. This was survival. Selling moonshine meant money. Drinking it meant escape. But here's the truth. Bad batches could kill. Blindness, poisoning, death. Still, people drank it. Because sometimes risk was better than reality. The government banned it. But banning didn't stop it. It only made it more powerful. This was not a drink. This was defiance. Number 13. It looked harmless, sweet, golden, natural. Honey. But not just any honey. Unregulated wild honey. Sometimes carried toxins. Bees collecting nectar from poisonous plants created something unexpected. Toxic honey. People didn't always know. They ate it for energy, for healing, for survival. And then, dizziness, hallucinations, collapse. In some cases, worse. So regulations tightened, imports restricted, production monitored. Because even something as pure as honey could turn dangerous. This was not sweetness. This was uncertainty. Number 12. This one fed millions. Cheap, filling, everywhere. Sawdust bread. Yes, actual sawdust mixed into flour. During extreme poverty, especially in early industrial America, flour was expensive. People needed to stretch it, so they added fillers, ground wood, bark, anything. It created volume. It killed hunger, but it destroyed the body. No nutrition, digestive damage, long-term harm. Still, people ate it because hunger doesn't wait. Eventually, food safety laws banned these practices. But for a moment in history, this was normal. This was dinner. This was survival. Number 11. It came from the sea, but it wasn't always safe. Shellfish, clams, oysters, mussels. Today, they're delicacies. Back then, they were risky. Because polluted waters meant toxic food. Early American cities dumped waste into oceans and rivers, and shellfish absorbed it all. People got sick. Outbreaks spread. So harvesting laws tightened. Certain areas were banned. Entire industries were controlled. Because something so simple could carry invisible danger. This was not seafood. This was a gamble. Number 10. It started as medicine, but became addiction. Coca-infused products. Yes, actual cocaine in early American consumables. Drinks, tonics, remedies. Even early versions of Coca-Cola contained coca leaf derivatives. People believed it gave energy, focus, strength. And for a while, it did. Until addiction spread. Dependence, health collapse, social impact. So laws changed, ingredients removed, formulas altered. What was once normal became unthinkable. This was not refreshment. This was a hidden drug. And this is where things begin to change, because the next foods were not just dangerous, they were feared. Feared enough to be erased. The deeper we go, the darker it gets. Because these next foods were not just banned for safety. They were banned because people lost control. Number 9. It looked like a simple fish. Cheap, easy to catch, easy to cook. Puffer fish. But here's the truth. One wrong cut, one small mistake, and it becomes deadly. This fish contains a toxin so powerful it can stop your body in minutes. Early American fishermen didn't always know. Some tried to prepare it, some tried to eat it, and some didn't survive. So strict regulations came in. In many places, it became illegal to serve without special training. Because this wasn't just food. This was a test of precision. And failure had consequences. This was not cooking. This was risk. Number 8. It came from desperation. Rotting meat. During extreme hardship, people couldn't afford to waste anything. So even spoiled meat was reused. Cooked again. Spiced heavily. Masked. Because hunger is louder than fear. But bacteria doesn't disappear. It grows. People got sick.
sometimes entire households. Eventually, strict food safety laws banned these practices. Inspection systems were created because survival methods were becoming too dangerous. This was not a meal. This was a last resort. Number 7. This one caused fear across the country. Absinthe, a bright green drink surrounded by mystery. People believed it caused hallucinations, madness, violence. Artists loved it. Writers depended on it. But society feared it.
Number 6. It was supposed to help. A quick boost, a little energy. Diet pills, early versions, unregulated, unchecked, sold everywhere. People trusted them. But inside, dangerous chemicals, stimulants, unknown compounds. Short-term energy, long-term damage. Heart problems, dependency, collapse. So regulations tightened. Many were banned because what seemed like help was actually harm. This was not medicine. This was a trap. Number 5. Here's what no one tells you. Some foods weren't banned because they were dangerous, but because they exposed something bigger. Number 5. Horse meat. Yes, Americans once ate it. During wars, during shortages, during crisis, it was available. It was protein. It was survival. But culturally, people resisted it. Horses were not just animals. They were companions, workers, symbols. So over time, laws restricted its sale, not purely for safety, but for identity. Because what we eat defines who we are. This was not just meat. This was emotion. Number 4. It looked like candy. Bright, colorful, sweet. But inside, artificial dyes, early food coloring chemicals were not safe. Some were linked to serious health issues. Still, they were everywhere. Children loved them. Families bought them. Until the truth came out. And regulations hit hard. Many additives were banned or limited. Because something so joyful was hiding danger. This was not sweetness. This was deception. Number 3. It came from the wild, natural, untouched. Wild mushrooms. People foraged them, cooked them, ate them. But here's the problem. Some mushrooms heal. Some mushrooms kill. And they look almost identical. One mistake was enough. So warnings spread, restrictions followed. Education became necessary. Because nature doesn't always forgive. This was not. And now, the one that never truly disappeared. The one that still exists, quietly, carefully, almost hidden. Number 1. Unregulated street food.
Not from big chains, not from inspected kitchens, from carts, corners, back alleys. Food made fast, cheap, real. For many Americans, especially in hard times, this wasn't just convenience. This was survival. Hot dogs from roadside grills, homemade tamales, improvised meals sold by people trying to make a living. No permits, no safety checks, no official approval, but full of life, full of culture, full of necessity. And that's exactly why it became a problem. Authorities stepped in. Licenses were required. Rules tightened. Fines increased. Not because all of it was dangerous, but because it was uncontrolled. Because it existed outside the system. And anything outside the system becomes a threat. Still, it never disappeared. Even today, in certain places at certain times, you'll find it quietly operating, feeding people.
Feeding people who need it most. Because hunger doesn't wait for permission. This was not just food. This was independence. And when you look back at all of these, you start to see a pattern. It wasn't just about danger. It wasn't just about safety. It was about control. What people eat, how they eat, who decides what is allowed. These foods tell a story of survival, of desperation, of adaptation. From raw milk to hidden street meals, from toxic honey to underground drinks, people didn't stop. They adjusted. They found a way. Because when survival is on the line, food is no longer just food. It becomes strategy. It becomes resistance. It becomes life. So the next time you sit down to eat something simple, ask yourself, where did this come from? What did it replace? And what was lost along the way? Because some of the most important food